Hello everyone, it's me again, Steedoj here, and as you can see, we are going to be doing a lot because I want to talk about, for one, the fact that Xenoverse 2 was actually the main reason why Dragon Ball Sparking Zero could be given to us, because Xenoverse 2's entire life was basically just funding for this game. So, without further ado, I'm going to talk about how different everything is in Sparking Zero in comparison to Xenoverse. I already did one for Tenkaichi free, so if you want to see that, link in the description. And without further ado, let's get this show on the road. So obviously the trailer starts with Goku and Vegeta doing a clash in Sparking Zero. This is obviously very different to the Xenoverse clashes, which are combinations. The combo system in Xenoverse is very different, so what we see in Sparking Zero with characters being able to do directional knockbacks, that Xenoverse just doesn't have that, like, outright. We don't have anything like beam deflects or dodging super attacks at the last second by timing a perfect guard. We can just spam vanish whenever we want to in Xenoverse, so that doesn't help. Since Xenoverse doesn't have a lot of stuff, you'll see me actually recreate it in the game, and I'll have to be doing that a lot for this video, so yeah. So here obviously we could see the way Vegeta shoots Galactic Gun and Goku dodges it, shoots his Kamehameha and it gets deflected. In Xenoverse 2, I can't do that. If someone shoots a Galactic Gun, you just have to either like Z-vanish it, or I guess iframe through it, because the whole game is just iframes. There's no like perfectly timed like dodges, or just, you know, outspeeding the attack. And you can't deflect beams either in Xenoverse. So I have to use, you have to use counters for all of the like parry animations in the game, because Xenoverse's only time-based reward mechanic, I think, is perfect block, and even then that's not really time-based. That's just spam-based, because you can just keep mashing it and it'll just work. Tenkaichi 3 didn't have a mechanic like that. If you press the thing too much, they disabled the prompts for it, which is obviously the right way to do things. I hope Sparking Zero does that as well, so that way we don't just have to deal with a bunch of block mashing. Transformations in Sparking Zero work the way they did in the original Tenkaichi 1, 2, and 3 games, even the Budokai games technically, where time freezes and then the transformation happens. That, you know, there's usually a cinematic in the newer games of the Tenkaichi series, but in Xenoverse, it's just a real-time transformation. And again, obviously, there's nothing wrong with that. If by most game standards, I think that's quite impressive. Real-time Dragon Ball transformations would be cool. But in Xenoverse, it doesn't really do it a lot of favors, because the transformations take ages to do. So yeah. Next we see Goku and Vegeta go for their ultimate attacks in Sparking Zero, and of course, just like the other Tenkaichi games, ultimate attacks have really nice cinematic angles when they're going in for the attack. And Xenoverse does have cinematic angles for ultimate attacks too. However, they're obviously not nearly as good looking or as dramatic, I would say. And some ultimate attacks actually don't even get cinematic angles. After the ultimate attacks, obviously we get the beam clashes, and needless to say, Xenoverse does not have beam clashes. So we'll just move on to the next part. After this, we see Frieza using a two-handed death ball, which he doesn't have in Xenoverse, to destroy the stage, which we also don't have in Xenoverse. And then after that, we see Frieza and Vegeta get into a teleport clash, which we also don't have in Xenoverse, where you vanish an attack based on timing, and that makes you automatically do a counter attack. And it just loops for a bit until Frieza wins their clash. Next we see Rage Broly actually using Gigantic Rage on Goku, and we actually do have Broly in Xenoverse 2. He's just not in his wrathful form, he's only in Full Power Super Saiyan or Legendary Super Saiyan. You know, his big green hair form where he loses the armor. And we see Broly transform, which is something we don't get to do as Broly. We only have Broly in the one form, like that's all he has in Xenoverse. We also see Goku going for a punch where it flashes all the characters that are going to be in, well, not all the characters, but it gives us a good idea of the roster for Sparking Zero. And we actually don't have Bergamo in Xenoverse. Bergamo was a select for the hero vote, but obviously he didn't win, because he was in the same bracket as Ultra Instinct signed Goku. So there was literally no way he was going to win. But yeah, either way, Bergamo being in, I think, is again, probably the most important thing, because not only is he not that relevant of a character, meaning anyone who's more relevant than him automatically gets into the game, but he's also a character who could turn into a giant. So that's also kind of important, because we haven't had giant playable characters. I mean, Breakers was the last game that gave us giant playable characters, but that's more so in an asymmetrical gameplay sense, rather than in an actual versus game, having a character that's just like 20 meters tall, just fighting everyone else. How the gameplay for Xenoverse 2 is vastly different from Sparking Zero. So again, obviously, I would say Tenkaichi is a better like yardstick, I guess, for if you want to know how to play this game. But in Xenoverse, we don't have the directional knockbacks that are in Tenkaichi. We don't have most of the timed mechanics. Like in Tenkaichi, we had timed blocks and timed dodges that were reward in a vanish attack or a sort of stun. In Xenoverse, I think the only timed mechanic is still just Perfect Guard. But Perfect Guard is like a spam mechanic. It's not like blocking at just the right moment where it has to be very like precise, and then you also can't do too many actions. You can't like just spam block to get the stun. You have to actually like react to it, and I think that's what makes Tenkaichi's gameplay so rewarding. You know, the combos are fast. You can knock the enemy in any direction you want. You can really control the pace of combat really well. If you're just playing the game right. But with Xenoverse, if you're going like, let's say you're going like super ham with like Goku, right? You're going like crazy with Goku. The most you could do is knock your enemy up and down, because that's all of Goku's combos. He knocks the enemy up or down. He can't knock them to the side. He can't knock them. He can't knock them down manually. Actually, he has to always knock enemies up before he knocks them down. If you do his full light combo, Goku uppercuts enemies into the air, then sledgehammers them down. And if you do his light heavy combo, or heavy light heavy combo, he knocks enemies up and then he knocks them down. But in Tenkaichi, you can just knock people down immediately in case if you need the ground to be, in case if you need it to be a ground fight, you know. A good example is I don't think characters like DBS Broly have any like knock ups in their combo. They don't knock you to like the sky. But if it was Tenkaichi, you could just always knock people to the sky at any point. You don't even have to wait for the end of the combo. You could literally just make your first hit a hyper smash that knocks them straight upwards. And I think that kind of gameplay is very ideal for Dragon Ball, because again, you would want to be able to use the whole environment while you're fighting, or be able to put the enemy in positions that are more favorable for you. There's a lot of times in the Tenkaichi games where you would knock an enemy backwards so you could set up a super attack or an ultimate attack, because they would connect in those scenarios. But in Xenoverse, it's like you can only knock the enemy towards the ground, and then even then they have... That's another thing. They have so many iframes waking up from the ground. Tenkaichi does not have like a bazillion iframes waking up from the ground, because if you're on the ground and a super attack's coming, it's your job to react to it with a well-timed vanish that lets you get out of the move in time. But Xenoverse just has an insane amount of iframes, which is just weird, because it's like you guys made games before that were not only more skill-based but more enjoyable. It was more rewarding to do these mechanics like this. The same thing with cinematic transformations. I think cinematic transformations are just more balanced in general than live transformations, because live transformations you can range from ones like Future Super Saiyan, which is so quick it might as well just stop time, because you'll never be able to attack someone while they're going through their transformation. And then you have ones like Beast, which is so bad that it could literally, you could get hit by the knockback wave of the Beast form transformation and still break someone's guard before they're even done with the actual whole animation. So that's why forms like Beast especially would benefit so much from being cinematics, because then they wouldn't have such a random absurd weakness that you could literally oh man, could you imagine if Gohan could go Beast and it was the exact same way the custom characters do it in Xenoverse? You would literally never see a Beast Gohan ever in the whole game, because you can't. If he goes Beast, he'll get his guard broken and then he'll die. So you would literally never see a Beast Gohan. Same thing with certain ultimate attacks being cutscenes. I'm very glad that Xenoverse did man up and eventually decide that some attacks should be cinematics, because if they're not cinematics, there's literally no way they would ever connect. It's very weird how Super Spirit Bomb is a move that genuinely takes like, I don't know, like 10 seconds to like actually like fully throw out, and then it's not like a cutscene at all when it hits the enemy, or like I don't know, it's just such a long animation. But luckily moves like Apocalyptic Burst and Special from Cannon Beast, they are cinematics when done right. And there are other moves obviously that don't need to be cinematics, like Power Rush. Power Rush will probably be a cinematic, or whatever its equivalent is in Sparking Zero. But in Xenoverse, it doesn't need to be a cinematic, because that's actually for once a fast ultimate attack in a game that does high damage, so it will never need to be a cinematic. But I think a lot more moves do need to have like this cinematic, like Raging Blast kind of effect, that if the moment they hit you, they start a cutscene where the rest of the damage is guaranteed. Way more moves need that, because so many moves struggle without, like Meteor Explosion. I'm so glad that's a cinematic, man, because if it was old Xenoverse, that move would have you could have just evasived in the middle of it, and that's so dumb. So yeah, I'm glad about that. I don't know how I would even do beam clashes in Xenoverse. I'd probably keep them the same, where you just mash or like rotate something. But I think beam clashes in Xenoverse would be rare, because Xenoverse isn't the kind of game where people are even using the beams. People are just spamming you with everything else, so there would probably be no beam clashes in Xenoverse. But in Tenkaichi, beam clashes are very realistic because there's always a good opportunity to go for a super attack, and sometimes you might not be able to dodge a super attack, so you have to counter with your own super attack. Again, just like actual Dragon Ball. And that would create beam clash scenarios, so that's why those happened so much in the older games, and why they were so cool. But in Xenoverse, I'm not sure how beam clashes would like basically almost never happen, and even if they did happen, I'm not sure how I would change them. I'd probably just still keep it as a mashing mechanic or a spinning like the stick mechanic. And stage destruction. Now, again, stage destruction is something I'm not sure I could do in Xenoverse, and not because I hate stage destruction or because I don't want it in the game. Xenoverse is kind of unoptimized enough for me to be worried about stage destruction. Like, if there was stage destruction, I'm not sure if the game would just crash. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure how I would do stage destruction in Xenoverse. I feel like the game would just crash with how it's optimized. So maybe no stage destruction in Xenoverse, but at least keep destructible environments as part of the map. That's something Sparking Zero is thankfully doing. Every rock in Xenoverse that you send flying up in the air from charging up on the ground or from shooting attacks at the ground and people slamming into the ground, all those rocks and all those creators will remain in the map as a reminder of the battle that was once, you know, in this area, which I think is very cool. Team fight in Sparking Zero will definitely be a treat because the map will stay destroyed, and you'll get to experience all of that while going through a giant roster of characters. But in Xenoverse, stage destruction is so temporary. Like, if you slam someone into the ground and it makes a crater, the crater disappears in like 3 seconds. Rocks don't become like a part of the map. You know, it's upsetting. Things that get destroyed, their pieces don't remain. They just despawn. So, yeah, I don't know. Stage destruction in Xenoverse, I wish it was more. There is a mod to make stage destruction like the way it is in Sparking Zero, but it's still not as crazy as what we see in Sparking Zero. It's just, you know, it keeps the stage actually, like, kind of messed up, but not, like, blown up. I don't mean, like, full-on stage destruction when I say this stage destruction. I mean just, like, destroying things in the stage, so... yeah, but if you could blow up planets in Xenoverse, I'm so worried the game would crash, I wouldn't even try it. And I guess that will be it. I don't know what else I could say. Xenoverse and Sparking Zero are, of course, very different games. I'm not going to ask you guys which one you like more, because Sparking Zero obviously isn't out yet, so it's not a very fair comparison. Because you guys could say, well, Sparking Zero isn't out, so I like Xenoverse more. And some people could say, well, I hate Xenoverse, so I like Sparking... Again, you guys let me know in the comment section down below which one you like more, actually. But I think this will be the end of the video for me. And for you guys too, so I do hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you enjoyed, then obviously again, please leave a like on the video. Don't forget to subscribe, it greatly supports the channel. And leave a comment down below as to what you'd like to see next. Love you all, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. Take care and peace.